Hello, Tom. Hello, Zach.
Hi.
Are you recording?
Hey, I am recording now.
Tom, are you with us or are you against us?
I am. I'm with you.
All right, let's start the show.
Okay.
So, have you guys gotten pumpkins yet? Have you worn a sweater yet? Have you gone out and trick-or-treated yet? Have you watched your favorite fall movie? Or have you listened to your favorite fall album? Because if not, you better buckle up, everybody. This is the fall episode.
Are we supposed to answer those questions?
In due time. Not all at once, man. Not all at once.
Okay.
We got to fill 40 minutes here. That's what the good people came for.
Are you leading this one, Pat?
I just asked a bunch of questions, and I will pick one of them, and we can start with that if you'd like. But yeah, it doesn't feel like fall everywhere in the U.S. currently on a Tuesday night. It's a little warm, toasty here in Cincinnati, Ohio. You guys said it's a little chillier where you are.
Currently in Denver, I think it was 39 degrees today, and it was our heat, of course, broke, I guess, and it was 52 in our house for the past 2 days. But I'm happy to report, just fixed it, and I'm up to a nice balmy 70 degrees in my basement. So it's more like the winter episode over here in Colorado, but you do what you can.
Well, Pat, here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Sorry.
Oh.
It was 46 all day, and maybe about 47 too.
Wow. That's the first real Canadian accent we've had on this show.
We've had about a half an inch of rain. We got about another half an inch to go. Plenty of rain.
You're so good, it makes me feel like you're holding off this accent every time you actually talk to us.
Yeah. I feel like we don't even know you anymore. But Tom, we are doing a fall episode. You've posted so many statuses already on Facebook just declaring your love. You want to make it known. I feel like there's a need for you to make people understand that you love this season, which is kind of the inspiration behind this episode to a certain degree. And we'll cover a flurry of topics as we move along here. But why do you love fall?
I mean, you guys probably know this, but I start sweating like profusely once it hits about 60 degrees. So it's like the end of a season of constant discomfort and general moistness of my body. And fall, it's just like such a relief for me. And I love apple cider. I'm almost done with my 4th gallon since the first day of fall, which was just over, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point?
Gosh.
Yeah, and so I'm like on a diet and going to the gym.
That's some good rot gut there.
I recently went on a diet, right, and going to the gym, and I saw that the frozen pizzas that I usually get for like an easy dinner, there's more calories in one frozen pizza than a whole gallon of apple cider. So if I'm drinking 1 gallon over the course of a few days, it's better than I was doing with 1 frozen pizza for dinner.
And now, right in this moment, need this to shift to the Tom diet episode because I don't know what the fuck that math is and like what your system of thinking is. Like, I'm going to trade this 1 pizza and then spread out the pizza cider over a couple days.
Well, I mean, it's like eating a 1/6 of a pizza every day rather than 1 all at a time.
I like it. I love it, but I think
I'm budgeting my calories.
I have to disagree 100%. Why eat only 1/6 of pizza when you can, in fact, eat the entire thing?
Because then I get acid reflux and can't sleep until 3 in the morning.
Pizza and coffee?
Well, not at night, but
No, I mean, like, are among the things you consume that give you acid reflux?
Everything I've been consuming gives me acid reflux. I mean, I'll drink a glass of water and get acid reflux. I don't know what the fuck
I would think
wrong
fall
with
would be bad for you then because Thanksgiving is in fall. It's a very food-based. You're starting to get into the season where you're consuming different types of things, holiday parties, things like that. But that doesn't set your acid reflux aflame. And just from a perspiration centric line of thought only? You love that season?
No, I don't know. I like the clothes in fall. I like skinnies and flannels on both myself and the ladies. I just think it's an opportunity to look cuter, right? I just wear the one pair of shorts I own and whatever band t-shirt during the summer, but like I buy like nice clothes for fall, and I feel like a different person. I feel more confident, more comfortable. We've already discussed, and yeah, man, just trying to get those tight pants on and off, if you know what I mean.
Well, I can't say no comment. Zach, do you like fall?
I love fall for a number of reasons, and those reasons have kind of changed and molded and shifted over the years. But as a high school football player, I loved fall because, the Friday Night Lights thing, it was cool and crisp and sometimes kind of hot, but you'd build up a sweat and you'd play the smells of the leaves and the sweaty pads. I mean, I definitely don't smell like sweaty pads anymore, but like the leaf smell, like that smell, the rain smell, that's a good fall thing. I went leaf peeping this past weekend in northern Minnesota, up there, Grand Marais there.
Up Duluth way there.
More north of Duluth.
More northern than Duluth.
More northern, up on the shore, yeah.
So I think what we're hearing from Zach is he's an olfactory boy. Is that?
Hey, what now?
Right? Olfactory.
Olfactory.
You're talking about smells a lot, and I love it.
Smells are great. I too generally like to layer.
Yeah, dude.
A little bit better. I wear a flannel almost every day, whether it's like the flannel pattern or like just the flannel style shirt.
But in like a real mountain man way, not like a hipster who just bought it from H&M, right?
Right. Like most of my flannel shirts, my warm shirts come from Goodwill because they're super cheap and they're lightly used.
That's also kind of hipster too, though, Zach.
Well, whatever, man, I guess. You could call me what you will. But I save a bunch of cheddar on some nice flannels. Like Pendleton flannels, the best ones you can get, made out of 100% wool.
Oh,
keep you warm even when it's wet. Warm and wet is always
that's how
a good
I like
thing.
it.
Man, you guys are sexual as hell tonight.
It's
hey,
this
which
fall
season
air,
you guys
Pat.
like? I like taking tight pants off women, and not to mention it being warm and moist all the time. I'm a big fan
Hey,
of that.
I have to say, though, we were definitely primed for that because can I read the text out loud that you sent right before we
Please don't, yeah.
from
Sometimes,
Pat Holmes.
I don't have a Twitter account, so there will be thoughts that come in like, it's like, man, I instead of tweeting this, I'm just going to text it to Tom and Zach. Either they won't have any idea what I'm saying,
With
or
no
they might get a
context.
chuckle out of it.
You need to read this out loud, Tom. I really think you do. Pat, is that okay?
No, it's not going in the show, but he can read it because I was hoping you guys found it funny. But yeah, it's not going in the show.
Pat Holmes, 10:01 p.m. Can one of you take a cold real quick so you can on my I need a because I ran into the doorway.
I had been workshopping that in my head for the last 3 hours of my shift at work, trying to get the wording right. But I have nowhere to put it. So you guys got it. There you go.
Yeah, so it's not our fault we're like this, Pat. It's we can turn to that text and blame it on you, I guess.
Fair enough. Oh,
But
yeah. No
so
problem at all.
I equate summer more to the smells than fall. What about you, Pat? What do you like to smell? Butts?
What do I like to smell? I guess in a weird way, the candles with the wicks that make noise.
What?
Like kind of I guess what would you call it? They kind of make a little crackling noise. The new smart wicks. Those are pretty nice. Candles are swell to smell. I also like the smell of a nice flower, a nice bouquet of flowers. Those are good. Those are great. I like the smell of pulling the pumpkin seeds out of a pumpkin. That's a very fall-like activity. Big fan of that as well.
I think if you go back 2 years ago, you'll hear my pumpkin seed story from kindergarten.
I'd love to hear it again. This is the fall episode after all.
No, it's fine.
All right. I'll keep going on what I like to smell. A nice melon. I mean,
okay, so you're just listing shit.
You just cut it up, eat it. It's a nice snack. Save some
what
for
about
later.
The seasons?
What about the seasons? Yeah. I think they're very smell-based in terms of my enjoyment of them. No, I'm just kidding. Mostly I wanted to get into how you guys carve pumpkins and stuff, but we have definitely dilly-dallied for the first couple minutes of this show.
Ooh, carve pumpkins.
Are you guys buy them right away and leave them on the doorstep? Are you guys trim them up, light them up right away and let them rot a little bit? Does the Vaseline trick even work? What did you do as a kid? Is that even a tradition that you need to partake in? I'm very curious.
Very interested in the Vaseline trick, first of all.
I heard if you rub it around the edges, if you're doing more of a fine design, it can help with the rotting process or seal the moisture at least. I don't know if it actually works.
Like after it's already carved?
Yeah. So
okay.
I guess one of my questions for you guys would be like, are you a standard jack-o'-lantern face household, or are you like I'm going to try to draw a cat with what I carve out of this pumpkin type situation? Because as we move on in the internet age, it's easier and easier to like make a Heisenberg from Breaking Bad face in the pumpkin or something and things like that.
Yeah. I like to make like what I cut out of the pumpkin, like if it's a triangle or a square or a circle or any shape or anything, I like to use the pieces that I cut out and incorporate it into like a 3D creation. Like last year, I cut out like a big old mouth, right? So a bunch of little triangles and stuff. Well, I took some nails from my shop and I stuck them in the triangles, and then I stuck the triangles down inside the pumpkin to like make a ridge back like a dinosaur. And then I took the nails also with the circles, and then I carved out little circles in the middle, and then those were the eyeballs. So it was terrifying dinosaur pumpkin. So it was like 3D. There was some depth. It was kind of elemental. And,
do you have photos?
I have them somewhere, yes. And I waited till, I don't know, like 2 nights before Halloween before we did that. And we had them sit out there, and there was flames, and there was little slits along the spines too. So like the spines, like the ridge line on the back was kind of on fire, like it was a flaming dinosaur. And it was one of the best pumpkins I've ever carved.
You've become very green, Zach. I like that you're even recycling the chunks of pumpkin you have to cut out. And you're like, I can use this.
Not only that, but in the end, we took our pumpkins and we composted them.
Nails and all.
Everything went back into the earth. Yum.
From which it came.
We made pumpkin seeds too, and we ended up eating them, baked them and put salt on them and stuff like that.
Are you guys just salt, or do you do anything special? And do you eat them all that night? Is that like something that has to occur?
No.
Oh, you save them?
Yeah, we do.
Oh.
We do save them. They do carry over quite nicely, I think.
What about you, Pat?
I think after years of trial and error, Jay, my dad, is pretty competitive with Easter egg painting and even tree decorating near the holidays in December. Like, he would go through and rearrange stuff the kids would have put up, even if it was like endearingly not perfectly proportioned. It's probably an undiagnosed OCD thing, but it's just like, Dad, like when you come home from college, you're like, cool, we're doing like the family, like Mary would lay out some ornaments for us to put up. And even like into my 20s, he would rearrange the stuff I put up. So it was kind of like, all right, man, we don't need to do this. Like, you could just decorate the tree. Like, none of us are under the age of 10 anymore. And single digits are far behind us. So feel free to just not go through the charade. But pumpkin carving was another competition in the Holmes household, as it were. And throughout the years, I think I settled on my favorite design, which was triangle eyes, triangle nose, jaggedy mouth that's real wide and creepy that kind of comes up the pumpkin but also has depth to it. I think that's my favorite. It's more of it's kind of classic and not too crazy, but I've done that for maybe 4 years in a row. I haven't really ventured too far from that, but I do love the process of picking one out. I've always been more of a tall pumpkin guy as opposed to like a fatter pumpkin guy. I've always shied away from, people draw like black cats that are like on all fours, kind of in that scared position, or picture like fall scenes like that. I've never gotten the tools necessary to make a scene like that, but I'm impressed by those who do. I'm not against it per se, but I'd have to say a nice jack-o'-lantern face. It's always fun to light the candle and set them out, and I don't know, like you, Tom, have some cider and just kind of sit there with your sweater on or whatever.
Yeah, the tradition at my house the past few years with Megan has been we'll go to like a pumpkin patch, right? Like driving upwards of like an hour or two to go to like the place where they were grown, I guess. And usually we'll do that a few days before Halloween, and we usually carve them the day before, I think has been the way we've done it. Levi is very eager to get his face into the pumpkins. He loves pumpkins and squash and stuff, so it's always like trying to focus on like cutting a nice design with a knife, but also not stabbing the dog in the face, you know? Like it's a tricky dance for sure. But I usually carve something from Zelda. I've done just like a simple Triforce. I did the Kokiri.
Which seems like kind of an easy one to do, like instant gratification, couple triangles.
Well, you have to be careful because it might be easier to cut out that middle one, you know, and just totally lose it. But
yeah, you could make one big triangle that it's just the triangle. There's nothing special there.
I did the Kokiri Emerald a couple years ago, and I don't think we did anything the past 2 years, but I think I've mentioned it before, and I know, Pat, you've seen them. We have many, many, many pumpkins in our garden.
Oh, you're growing them this year. That's right.
Like huge ones, like the biggest pumpkins I've ever seen. Not like the kind that they weigh on an industrial scale or anything. But yeah, man, just
is the plan to carve them all? Or?
Well, so they're still green, which concerns me. I think maybe you have to cut them off the vine in order for them to turn orange. Like there's a subtle shade of orange in them, but there's so many. We're just gonna like give them to the neighborhood or something. I don't know.
I like that. Well, you guys were Halloween pranksters. Did you ever smash pumpkins? You guys used to try to scare kids at least.
That was the first time Zach and I ever hung out.
I think I would love to hear the story. I don't know if I've ever heard both of you here in the same place to tell it.
Tom, I'd love for you to tell this story.
Okay. I think I told the story last year too of calling, I forget. So Zach, we were in some classes together, but I don't think we really talked or anything at this point. And
I was scared. You were so cute.
So I called, I think it was Alex Burtis to go trick-or-treating, and he was like, oh no, no one's going. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I called Zach and I was like, yo dude, are you trick-or-treating? And he was like, no, I'm scaring kids in my house. And I was like, my first thought was like, what? Like, what are you talking about, dude? So Zach invited me over. I came over like not knowing what was going on, and God, this is again 8th grade, and you had a pumpkin head and you were wearing like denim jeans, plaid shirt, and you were stuffed with hay. And you were.
I was wearing Goodwill flannel, Goodwill jeans. I was bringing hipster in.
Your mother swaddled you with Goodwill flannel when you were a child.
So drenched in it.
So Zach's sitting in a chair in front of the house, like the door where I think your mom was giving out candy, pretending to be a scarecrow, and you would jump and scare kids. And I was in this wolf mask underneath a blanket in this like tiny plastic bed frame where my supple 8th grade body was all contorted to fit into it. And Zach, I think your mom put the blanket like over my body, so only my face was out. And I would,
and just for the listeners, my mother would just go all out as far as decorating for every season. So the yard was full of like the plastic bones, and like the bed which Tom was laying in was supposed to be like the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh, is that what it was?
Just laying in there, and then that's my mom, the decorator.
So I would like follow people as they walked up the path, and I would kind of like jerk my neck a little bit so it looked robotic. So people would be like, is that like a robot? And then I would scream, and this one dude punched me in the face. So the face was like elongated, right? Because it was like a wolf mask. So he kind of got the nose, which there was nothing there on my head, but he swung at me, man. And I'm like on the ground, like folded up into a ball, no line of defense. And
out of fear? Did he swing?
This plastic bed frame was like the size of maybe 2 middle school desks put together, like just the portion you write on. Like the thing was so small, and I was folded up into it. So when this person like attacked me, I had nowhere to go. I had to like
Yeah, so the guy swung out of fear.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought you meant I was curled up in a ball because of fear. No,
Oh no, yeah, no. You were
Okay.
just doing your job, and it sounds like he had a flight or fight situation.
Well, I don't
going
know
on.
because I was so low to the ground that he had to like work to get his fist down there. I mean, my head was maybe a foot off the ground, and he was on the path, so he actively ran towards me. And then
So it wasn't
punched.
like a fight, like a jab and run. It was like okay, I'm gonna mess this guy up. Like he had to come forward and towards the ground to land the punch.
Yeah, but that's the first time Zach and I hung out.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
That would be 14 years ago, I think. Or
Dang.
I think 15 years ago this October, actually. I think I'm
Your
right
mom
on
did
that.
like Halloween, Zach, because I remember us, maybe it was after trick-or-treating or maybe it was junior high, but I remember going back to your house to watch, not Poltergeist, but
Oh, like the Exorcist or
The
something?
Exorcist, the original
Yeah.
Exorcist.
Yeah,
And
right.
I was, I'd like to say that I was too young to have seen it for the sake of the audience, but I will admit just straight up that I was a teen at that point that should not have been as scared as I was. And everyone was just kind of laughing, having a good time, drinking cider, trading Reese's for Snickers and things like that. And I was just glued to the TV like not possessed, but just like I just realizing I wasn't going to get some of those images out of my head for the next several weeks. And
Well, but wait, who the trades a Reese's for a Snickers? First of
what
all,
the-
Ooh, I was just being conversational, but I like where this is headed because it gets us off the topic of me being petrified by
well,
the
yeah, I
movie.
get Snickers, I do, but like if I have one Reese's and someone's gonna offer me like 50, well, maybe I'd take 15 Snickers for one Reese's, but like
I would give one Reese's. I would give a Snicker to my sister Katie for one Reese's. I think in our house that was a fair trade because I was definitely the Reese's guy. I love them very much. Do you guys have favorite candies?
It changes with the weather.
anything peanut butter and chocolate.
Okay, so for me it was Reese's, Snickers, and then Milky Way was like
Ooh.
B Team Snickers.
Okay.
And then after that it was a crapshoot. Like those were my top three. Three Musketeers. I went through a Three Musketeers phase where you might have talked to
Ooh,
me about
yeah.
it being the second tier above Snickers, but I think over time, sanity set in. Is that ranking off? I feel like that's pretty accurate. Unless you're more into fruity, gummy type situations. Like sometimes you get a mini bag of Skittles or something like that.
I never did like the Skittles, but the peanut M&Ms were pretty dope. Like the little bags,
Ooh, those are nice.
those are just the nicest little like pick me up. A little bag of peanut M&Ms just went a long way. Yep. Yeah, Reese's for sure was way at the top. The Almond Joys were just quite nice.
Oh,
I do like
whoa.
you, dude.
I wish
Oh.
I wish we would have grown up in the same household because I would have gathered all my Mounds and Almond Joys and tossed them at you for any decent. I would have gone 2 Almond Joys for 1 Milky Way with you. I would have been like, if we were playing that game Pit or any board game that involves yelling and trading things, I would have been like, just give me any B-list chocolate candy you can for the Mounds of the Almond Joys. They're just we're not.
I scrambled for blue wrappers. I was looking all over for those things and
Oh,
just
really?
felt so lucky. And I saved them too because I would go hunting in November with my dad for deer, and we'd stuff our pockets full of Halloween candy. And he would have all the Reese's because that's what he'd scramble for, and Snickers and the Milky Ways, and I would have all the Almond Joys, and we'd like do a little double trading there out in the woods. And it was just perfect. I love Almond Joys. The almonds, the coconut, the little chocolate. Can't go wrong.
God.
Plus, it sounds like there's a little nostalgia there. I love the story all around.
So less so Halloween, I guess. Just fall in general.
Well, what's like your first fall activity? Or sorry, I'm cutting you off, Tom.
No,
but
no,
like,
no. So
for some people it's Thanksgiving, for some people it's Halloween. Is it something earlier than that, or what is your main fall thing?
I mean, my main memory, I guess, was being like a young child in like 5th and 6th grade, like wrangling up all the neighborhood kids to go rake leaves. So for me, it was like when the leaves started falling. But now I just equate it with like the more comfortable weather. But I feel like the past few years, last week it was in the 90s, and then this week it's going to be 30 and snowing on Thursday. Like, I feel like there has been no spring and no fall. We don't need to get into the climate change stuff because that's not what this show is. But I feel like I haven't had a fall in years. Is that like something you guys relate to? Because like I've experienced that like in Virginia and Colorado. Like there's just not autumn anymore. It drives me crazy.
Did we get unfair? And I will state this, and to anybody who's not an Erie listener, then this will not apply to you whatsoever. So feel free to move on to WTF with Mark Maron or anything of that nature. But did we get a totally skewed view of the seasons because of our actual 5 months of full winter and then like short, quick fall before the snow ravaged the whole city, and then like kind of 2.5 months of summer? Like, do you guys feel that you've talked to other people who grew up in different parts of the country that are just like, nah, that's not how that works? I mean, because we grew up in a very specific cold Canadian wind coming off the Great Lakes and just dumping cold on us for 5 months out of the year. So fall might have been, I guess, different for us. Do you think your expectations were shattered just because you moved away in adulthood from Erie?
I think maybe I'm just looking back like idealistically, but I feel like I remember fall being much more prevalent when I was growing up in Erie. Like there was more of a fall. There were like leaves everywhere. Like you had to like rake them to the side of the road for the leaf collection people to come. But like last year and in Virginia, there was feet of snow before we even got to rake the leaves, and it destroyed everyone's lawns. But I feel like there's just no gap in between. I don't know. I want to see the colors on the trees and jump in leaves. I mean, dude.
Would you say that you'd like to paint with all the colors of the wind, though?
I mean, I'm trying to remember the other lyrics of the song.
I thought you were just gonna be like, well, I would if I could. Who would?
Yeah, I'd paint with all the colors of the wind.
Jumping off a super tall waterfall that would probably kill the person just based on impact of like water tension, but we don't have to go there.
Well,
there's a series of skilled jumps. That,
I mean, like
anyone could land. Anyone can land.
That's a tall waterfall. That's like, and where in the Americas did that take place? I mean, I don't even know. I mean, just the physics of it alone. So, are you guys big Thanksgiving fellows in terms of, does it rank anywhere near the top of your favorite holidays, things like that?
I think definitely for me. Growing up, my family and I used to drive to Iron River, Wisconsin. A nice 18-hour car ride.
Ooh-wee.
Me, mom, dad, brother, and sister would drive up there for Thanksgiving every single year. And in northern Wisconsin that time of year, it was highly likely to have several feet of snow at that time. So we got a little taste of fall, Erie Fall, which, Tom, I think we had a pretty good run at Erie Falls.
Yeah.
I do agree, but I also think that our time, our reference of time as young people was just a little bit different. Like maybe it
Totally
lasted a little
wrong.
bit longer
Yeah.
because we didn't think that much back then.
For sure.
So maybe that was it. But I definitely remember like the leaves changing slower and staying the way they were for a little bit longer. But again, I could be confusing that with my perception of time as a young person. But we would drive to Iron River, Wisconsin, way up there, way up North Erie.
Way up there.
And there would either be some color left, maybe a little bit, or there would be, several feet of snow. And so over the river and through the woods till grandmother's house we go. So it was like, damn, that song is legit. We're going to Thanksgiving over the river, which there were several, and through the woods, there was many tracts of woods. And damn, we were at grandma's house, and it was Thanksgiving, and there's plenty of food, and there's nobody else around up there. And it just felt very fairy tale-like. So, Thanksgiving, I rank that one pretty high up there. Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad that song is such an accurate portrayal of what your holidays were. You got to listen to it and be like, oh, I'm glad somebody wrote this because it's kind of a playbook for exactly what's happening. It's pretty good.
If someone hadn't written it, maybe I would have.
Exactly. Like that thing wasn't going to not get written. Like, there's plenty of rivers and woods and grandmas to go around for that thing to happen. So, but I think it's always been one of my favorites for sure. We were always a turkey family. I think Jesse, I'm learning, they might have been more of a ham family. Did you guys have any difference from year to year, or were you pretty tradition-based? Or what was your favorite food? Were you big on the stuffing? Were you big on the cranberry? What type of cranberry is sometimes a nice time for debate? I was never big on any of the types of cranberry. Gravy, for example, can be a bit of contention. Maybe we're just very Irish, my family. I'm not sure. Maybe there's not as much contention in other households. But I don't know. Was the dish or the meal itself a source of joy or negativity in any way?
Well, I think the second episode we ever did of this show was a Thanksgiving episode, and didn't realize my family would be listening, and I very openly admitted that I hated holidays because...
Did you get any feedback?
No, which made me more uncomfortable. My mom actually did say that it made her reevaluate a lot of things, and I think hearing me say that out loud, and she was never like the problem, right? Made her see things a little differently, I guess, and change a little bit as a person, which is good, right? Self-reflection and whatnot. But I never liked holidays. My family is like, they're nice people, but like just didn't get me, I don't think. And
well, let's switch gears then. If we've already done this episode, how do you plan on moving forward in your adult life, recreating some of these holidays based on maybe what you did as a kid and what you want to maybe cherry pick from you and your partner's traditions? Are there things you definitely want to keep, things you definitely want to scrap?
I mean, right away, my thought was like, I wouldn't celebrate holidays.
Wow.
And it's not like because I'm so scarred from the past or anything, but like if I think about it from I guess, perspective of holidays going forward would be like, if I were to meet up with my sister, right? And like, if we had kids, I would do that, right? I don't know. I mean, I have a very small family at this point. My mom had like much more brothers and sisters than I do. So they were bigger events, but it's just like my sister and I. And I think we both plan on having a pretty small amount of kids. So I think holidays moving forward would be really low key. And like, I get a lot more out of not celebrating them, and like people try to like give me shit about like, oh, you're too cool to like buy into the fucking social norms of holidays or whatever. But like, I just want everything to be the same always. That's how I feel most comfortable. We discussed like my birthday last year was like a really normal day, especially when we just planted our garden. Everything was really low key. I just like low key, and I'd probably do that going forward. I mean, we didn't have traditional Thanksgiving dinners the past 2 years. It's just been like a normal dinner, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like them. I don't know. I'll eat turkey, but like, you just eat turkey plain? Like, it seems so stupid to me. I don't know.
So like when I was in New Mexico, everyone was kind of a misfit there, and it was usually too far to travel home for a lot of people. So I don't know. You guys know Todd Bailey from Academy. We both, a couple of friends that we had there at the time, gathered the night before on the night of Black Friday to have a beer, I guess, and get ready, knowing that tomorrow, the next day, we were going to have kind of a misfits Thanksgiving. It wasn't a Friendsgiving because none of us knew each other that well yet, but it was kind of an open invite to anybody who was at our place of employment to kind of like, you can come here and there'll be at least pie, and we're going to try to make some. So like, I got decent at making pozole, like my roommate's New Mexican recipe that he picked up from a coworker or something. And we made some food. It wasn't necessarily traditional, but I think the spirit of it was there for sure. I think somebody brought some turkey, which was nice. Actually, when I got home from work the next day, I was a bit hungover, and Todd was listening to like Day to Remember, or maybe metal, I forget which, but like covers of Christmas carols, like, and he had an apron on and some oven mitts, and he was like basting the turkey with so much care. Like, I can't, like the thing is, I didn't have an apron in my house, so like he had brought the apron in from an outside location just to be able to like create this scene for me, and I was just really thankful for that, I guess. So I think there's something that the tradition doesn't have to be the same every time, but at least it's something people can bond over, I guess. Not to get too sappy, but like to your point, I guess you can pick the parts you like and make it your own, I guess, over time. Or at least that's what happened that day, would be it's not even a counterpoint, but just, I guess, it doesn't hurt or something. I don't know, Zach, what do you say?
Well, I'm a homeowner, if listeners didn't know, and
Can we have a homeowner sound effect that we play every time he says it? Well, not that he says it a lot, but I kind of want to now. Like, sure. Can we hit him with, like, because none of us are, but Zach, and I kind of think it deserves club horns because it sounds very nice, if I'm being honest.
Club horns? Is that what that is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, we
okay. I never heard that before.
Do you mind if we hit you with some club horns?
No, not at all, man. I'm a homeowner.
And you've worked hard on it. You've renovated that place, like, for months, for years.
2.5 years almost.
That, if nothing else, deserves club horns, as far as the show's history of club horn uses goes. I'm just saying, it should be celebrated. Congrats.
Thank you. My wife and I have hosted several holidays in our home, and it's really scary hosting one in your house, especially if it's like, I don't know, if it's like not quite done yet, like the main level where everyone's going to be. Like if things aren't on walls, or like the kitchen, for example, isn't like completely done, but it doesn't look like it's not finished. It's just not finished in my eyes. But it's cool because you get to decorate the house however you wish. And like was mentioned earlier, my mom was a heavy decorator, and some of those genes were passed on to me. And I like to decorate, like get it all festive for...
Well, to put it in perspective, she would leave the lights at the Christmas tree on so long that it would prematurely dry the tree out itself, like around Christmas time.
Oh, absolutely.
Which she was just so... It's one of those things where you see a child and you're like, wow, I wish I could be that excited about anything. Somebody could look at your mom and be like, the way she's excited about the holidays and decorating, be like, wow, somebody has found their sweet spot. That is some serious joy going on, and I'm jealous.
Yeah, and that was every single holiday. I mean, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. Once there was like a Leif Erikson Day thing, but a very small. But the fact that she remembered it was just fantastic.
You got a budget for that, dude.
So hosting those holidays is like this new tradition for Ellie and I. And I'm not sure if we're going to do it every single year, but... when we do it, it's like, oh, this is kind of stressful, but our house is smelling very good, and it's decorated, and it's very cozy, and we have a fireplace, wood-burning fireplace, so there's always fire going. And, man, the night kind of lasts forever in a very nostalgic way.
Any major lessons learned, good or bad, from doing it a couple times? Also, friends or family, or both?
Well, Thanksgiving was family, and it can get awkward. Definitely. It can get awkward with some of the groups that get together on Ellie's side, because my family's back in Erie. It can get weird because some of them you can handle in doses, no more than just a few hours, and you're ready to kick them out the door. But they're family, and you treat them with respect, and you love them. Any tips, any little bits of information? Here in Minnesota, you really have to like nudge, like, hey, eat, because it's literally getting cold. Just eat. Don't wait for anybody else to start eating. Just, I'll just a cake? I've never had that before. Oh, turkey? What's that? I guess I'll try a bite. You just eat it. Just eat
is that tied into the Minnesota goodbye at all? Is it a mindset?
I think it's like the Minnesota goodbye, takes super long time, and the Minnesota, like, start eating vibe. I'm going to wait till someone starts to... like lick their spoon before I like eat a bite of turkey. Sometimes that happens. I was like, damn, just eat it. Like little plates, sometimes like really small plates.
I do like to host because you could get to like when you're cutting the bird or whatever, you just get to eat it when it's at its most like freshly cut and moist and things like that.
I did that for the first time last year. I sliced open the turkey and cut it into pieces and put it on a plate. And I was damn near full by the time everything made it to the table because I was eating just so much oodles of turkey and beer and whatnot. Tips for hosting. Don't be scared to say what's on your mind as a host. You say, sit down, and eat.
Whoa, I love it. Was it Brad McShane experience at a party at Pitt University where the lady was on the couch saying, you, good for you, good for you, you.
Good for you.
Like some New Jersey woman who came from New Jersey. It sounds like when you're a host, sometimes you gotta mix in the yous and the good for yous. But flash round. Let's just get into a big fight before we leave here. Favorite types of pie? Well, first I'll go pie or cake, and then we'll go into pies in terms of what the best pies are.
I'm going to say ice cream.
Get the fuck out of here. You're high. What? How? And why? Who hurt you?
Unless it's that berry pie that my stepmom Diane made us when we were at their house.
Ooh, that was nice.
Ooh.
Can we put the ice cream on top of that and then just call it a day?
Yeah.
Cool. Never mind. No fighting here. Let's just all enjoy that delicious sound.
Let's just be happy together with the thought of Diane's pie. Blueberry pie. Well, raspberry pie.
It was a mix. It was like a blueberry medley mixed in.
It was
and
blackberry, raspberry, blue. Yeah, it was everything.
And we picked them all ourselves.
We did.
If I remember.
Yeah.
It was the most punk rock thing we've ever done.
Just a bunch of
I think TPing our own house was more punk rock than
That's true.
Oh God, we gotta discuss that at some point. I probably still have the pictures. Pat knows I keep pictures of everything.
Whose house was it?
It was mine.
It was Tom's house.
Oh, okay.
And then it rained, and the toilet paper was impossible to pick up the next day.
Yeah, it's just a mess.
It's bad timing.
So are we all going with a pie?
Yeah, I thought that was going to be more of a
select
talker.
pie.
I like pumpkin, I guess. I like apple, but I don't mind pecan. I like all pie. I love pie. I'm a big pie guy.
Pie ribs.
I would choose pie over cake and pie over ice cream. I don't like warm fruit pie, but warm apples and apricots, I can't do that. I just don't like warm, gooey sliced apples. But pumpkin pie, great. Blueberry pie, wonderful. Pecan pie, great. Rhubarb pie, all types of pie except for warm apple pie.
You know what's always confused me? With that one lyric in the one Christmas song where he says, Pennsylvania in the homemade pumpkin pie. I'm like, are we known for that? I don't think we freaking are, quite honestly. I don't know. But just kind of like talking about Stump to Tennessee in the gypsy. It's like, dude, your geography's off. Like, what the Like, how is Pennsylvania the pumpkin pie state? It just was never that, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Do we need to look into that?
I would love to fact check this. Maybe it's a Pennsylvania Dutch thing, but I just was never. And again, we're from Erie, so that's not. We're barely Pennsylvanians, but it would always confuse me a bit.
I'm Googling right now.
Okay, real time fact checking. What's your favorite Halloween costume that you've been?
I was Garth Algar.
No, you're wrong, Zach. The answer for all of us was the time we were Blink-182 from First Date.
Oh yeah, okay, yep, number one.
Picture in the show notes.
Well, we've all been
incredible.
Tom, we had some good ones at Academy, some group costumes that were good.
Yeah.
There was like 18 different cops, and we got free donuts from donut shops in town. Zach, we were Garth and Wayne twice in our lifetime.
Yes, twice.
Paid dividends. And then the three of us were, specifically from the music video First Date, the members from Blink-182, Boomer, and all the fictional characters of Blink-182 in that music video. And the young 20-something male person that recognized us, the one person that recognized us all night, really brightened my day, I'll tell you what.
There was more like 3 or 4 who recognized us.
It was a better payoff, I feel like.
The one dude, right as we left the house, he was like, Boomer! And I think it was Zach was like...
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right.
And then Zach was like, yeah, anyway, I ended up kissing my own brother.
Accurately quoting the music video and everything.
All right, we got to wrap it up and get out of here. Song of the week. John.
I forgot that we were doing that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We've done it for like 3 years.
I can start since, Pat, you're never ready. Fall, the music for me tends to get heavier as I go into winter. I downloaded Knocked Loose's 2016 album Laugh Tracks, and the first song off it, Oblivion's Peak, is really good. Lots of tempo changes, just like really beat down hardcore. Haven't listened to that in a while. And it's the only thing in the past month that has broken the streak of listening to Proper Dose by The Story so far. It's just been the 2 of those for the past month or so.
Whoa, dethroned.
Doing a little bit of studio building in the basement and shuffling through some tunes. Ended up on You Ain't Alone, Alabama Shakes from Boys and Girls.
You're a huge Alabama Shakes fan, I'm realizing through the years here.
I do like Brittany Howard and what she does with that guitar.
Hard not to.
It's hard not to.
I'm going to take it. This is not a new. I think when we started the podcast, I didn't think it was going to last this long, or I hoped it would, but I had no idea. And I don't listen to new music enough at this clip to even come close, as you all know. I think I have an actual new song recommendation. I think I've had 2 in the last 4 months. I'm going to say "Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher" by Jackie Wilson. I think to get in the mood of fall and the spirit of Thanksgiving, play that song at the beginning of one of your days coming up here on a weekday, on a work day, and just let it lift your spirits a little bit.
Dope. I'm looking forward to experiencing this great fall with you, with my best friends. And this has been
working out some kinks as we march ever closer to the century mark.
One of the biggest kinks being I can't get in touch with the graphic designer about the artwork.
There you go. But we'll be hitting it, I guess, the ground running, you might say, with the Haley Williams / Paramore episode.
You know, there's like so much happening right now. Like Avril Lavigne just put out a new music video, and I kind of wish we had rebranded already to cover that. But I don't know.
We could just do that next. There's no rules. I mean, we literally own the show, so
we'll figure it out. But
we're doing it early. 97's our special number.
Until next week. But we also have Pod Carnage going on right now as well. If you haven't checked that out yet, podcarnage.com. You can find the show notes for this show at reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/96.
Can you find us on Twitter, Tom?
You can find us on Twitter, _reminiscentfm. You can also find just at Ron Carnage on Twitter. We'll be tweeting some stuff about the book and episodes and what we're going to be doing, but you can hear most of that at podcarnage.com on the new podcast.
And you won't find me anywhere.
No, dude.
Off the grid.
Off the grid. All right. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too. Bye.
See ya.
Ba, 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 ba.